I wish life was actually easier for me.
Life hasn't been easy for Monica and the other 24,000 homeless children living in New York City's shelters.
I feel angry. I want to break something.
I don't want to be here, but we have to go here. We have to. There's no other place where I could go.
I'm missing out on my childhood.
Over the past decade, the homeless population has dramatically increased and homeless families have been among the most affected. According to the Coalition for the Homeless, there have been a 64.1% increase in homeless children from 2007 to 2017.
I hope and pray that everything that I'm experiencing in my life, and as my kids are watching me experience it, that this is a life lesson for them, that this is a last resort. This is something that I never want them as adults with children of their own to ever have to experience.
A 3-month investigation of how the city's shelter system treats children, the most vulnerable of the homeless population, has found that the city's homeless families repeatedly struggle to obtain shelter, causing significant disruption in the lives and education of thousands of children across the city. With only one intake point for homeless families located in the Bronx, the city often forces parents to take children out of school for days on end, while they spend weeks trying to navigate an intake system that parents say is designed to frustrate and deny them shelter. Multiple attempts to reach the Department of Homeless Services for a response were unsuccessful.
I sleep in my friend's van, and my daughter is being snuck in illegally to a friend that's in the shelter already. At nights and days, she says to me, "Mommy, where are we gonna go now?" Or "Where are you gonna go now?" It's just been a lot of pain and suffering, a lot.
On night, I'd be worried because, there's a lot of men and boys out there, and what could happen.
Parents are forced to go to the Prevention Assistance and Temporary Housing Center, or PATH. It has roughly 150 families showing up each day to go through the days-long application process that is required in order to be placed in one of the city's shelters. But often, after spending the entire day at the intake center, the families and young children are denied permanent shelter placement and are put on a bus, often late at night, to go to a hotel, only to have to return hours later to wait again to talk to an intake worker.
I'm on a football team, and by me coming here, it's taking out my time to practice on my football team. Like tomorrow, I have football practice. If we stay here for that long, I'm gonna miss it.
I gotta focus on school and then go to PATH, focus on school, and then go to PATH again. Every time we have to leave is because of PATH.
When they hear that we gotta go to PATH, you can see it in their face. They just change. They're just like, we gotta go back there again.
According to the 2017 report by the Coalition for the Homeless, the number of families applying to PATH multiple times has jumped from 37.5% to 44.9% in just 6 months. This means families have to go back to PATH as often as they can to show new documents of where they used to live and why they can't live there anymore in order to be found eligible. The result is children lose days and even weeks of schooling.
The system is running at an extremely low vacancy rate, and whenever there's a vacancy is where families are placed, and that in many cases is not near where a family needs to be in order to maintain their kids' school or their social supports or any type of continuity with their lives before becoming homeless.
If I don't go to school tomorrow, and if I probably go to a different place out here in the Bronx, all I know is that I got to keep in contact with my friends and check up how they're doing, because it's really hard for me. It really is. I don't want to cry.
The children bear the stigma of being one of the 110,000 homeless children in the city's school system, according to the 2016-2017 state data. These children have a 54% graduation rate compared to 77% for non-homeless students.
I don't want to be the person who miss out on school and then miss out on everything, miss out on activities, the schoolwork, and stuff like that.
I can't share where I'm at right now because that's kind of embarrassing.
When I try to get my schoolwork done, it's like really hard because they call me in the middle of school. So it's like really hard, so I don't know how to do my homework or nothing because I had to leave.
Catherine Cliff, an attorney at the Legal Aid Society, says the lack of proper investigation by PATH workers is one of the most urgent issues that needs fixing and is what leads to families to be found ineligible.
I think a lot of times the staff at PATH is so overburdened and there's so many families coming through that they don't really take the time to uncover the why. It's unfortunately when clients tell PATH workers something, that doesn't mean the worker's going to believe them, whereas if me, the lawyer, tells them something, suddenly we get a different response, and that's a pretty disturbing dynamic, but it happens every day.
It's like walking on pins and needles, wondering what they're going to tell you the next day. You wake up, you don't know if they're going to tell you, hey, well, guess what? Pat said this, you got to go through all the process all over again. It's a miserable process, but, whatever I got to do to make sure that I can get my kids in somewhere safe, I'll make sure I do it.
Children in the shelter system take each day as it comes.
We're going to restart all over again. Trust me, we restarted plenty of times.
I'm actually worried about what's next, because you never know when they'll pull you out again.